Hello, Happy New Year. I hope that you're having a good day or a day that is as good as it can be, depending on whatever circumstances is happening in your life right now, that you're finding the sunshine or the silver lining. I thought I would just get in a quick video because one thing I've learned is that when you have a life lesson, you can keep it to yourself sometimes and just kind of mark it down and learn from it. Or sometimes you can share it and with the hopes that other people also can learn and just learn life lessons. I'm a firm believer that you can win or you can learn. I've let go of the win and failures. I've just learned, hey, either I got the results I was looking for or I learned something new, and I can certainly make adjustments down the road. So recently, actually just a few weeks before the end of the year, I had an experience where I was interviewing for a job, and I didn't apply for this job actually. It was for a personal trainer role for a club in Toronto. I won't name the name. And a recruiter that I had been in contact with, which I had expressed that I was looking more for leadership at this point in my career. I've been in this business for over 20 years. I have a slew of skills and knowledge and experience and accolades and ray. I'm not going to go down through the whole line, but I think at this point, I'm looking more in terms of leadership. And we had a whole discussion, and she said she'll keep her ear to the ground, let me know. Cool. So she got back to me and said to me, after she raved about my resume and thought it was fantastic and I would be a great fit and blah, 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 she let me know that there was this club, even though they weren't offering a leadership role, they were desperately looking for some trainers, and asked if I'd be interested. I'm like, you know what, these times, I'm not going to be too picky. Things are rough in the fitness industry, so I'm open to opportunities wherever they come. I got a phone call from the assistant manager of this particular club, and he was like, again, raving, and like, he obviously looked me up and was just like, yeah, we had a great discussion, and we did kind of like a quick phone interview over the phone, and he wanted me to come in. I guess their procedure was to come in for a sit-down interview. Now I know the trainers who are watching this right now are going, huh, interview? Like, no disrespect to our industry, but let's face it, as trainers, generally we don't go through these different levels of interviews. It's kind of like, you get hired based on generally your expertise or your look, and it's sort of trial and error. They see how you do, and if it really doesn't work out, they will let you go. But generally, for our profession, let's face it, we're not cracking open ribs here and doing triple bypass surgeries. We're kind of making sure the clients don't put their knees past their toes for a squat. Make sure they do a proper lunge and sets and reps. Like, it's not really, here we go. We're not doing brain surgery, okay? So I thought it was kind of a lot, but I thought, fine, I'll come in, So I'm sitting at the table across from these two men, and they're just firing, questions at me. I'm holding my own, and I'm doing my best to interview well. And during the interview, I thought it was peculiar, one of the questions. Like, the general manager, which I thought was interesting, admitted that he didn't even look at my resume. He nicely said, "Oh, I didn't have a chance to review, but I like to give the candidate an opportunity to display and to talk about themselves." I'm just like, okay. I could smell the BS, but I'm thinking, generally, even if you're going into a meeting, you kind of look at even the itinerary. Never mind somebody who's come in and spent like an hour travel time to come and sit down for an interview. Couldn't take 5 minutes and just even gloss through my resume. Anyway, so, I went through and answered all the questions. Some of the questions I thought clearly indicated that he didn't really understand certain aspects of the fitness industry, but that's fine. I, answered them and tried to be as grateful as possible. And then he dropped a question that I thought was really odd. He said, "Oh, I noticed that you work for," I won't say the name of the club, but let's just call the club Shishi, right? "Oh, you worked for Club Shishi." And I was like, yeah, I was there. Of course, during the pandemic, all of the, in-person staff were kind of let go and put on hold, and not everybody has been called back. I haven't been called back, but I'm technically sort of on their roster. He said, "Oh," then he asked me, "Do you know," I won't say the person's name, but I'll call her Sally. "Do you know Sally?" Now, anybody in the industry who's been in Toronto, like I have been for many, many years, we obviously kind of cross paths and know people who've been in the business for a while. But at the same time, how do I put this? As a Black woman, I have some keen radar and have learned in my experience in life that we as Black people have a very different experience in life and different reality. So when we're sitting in front of opportunities, particularly I was in front of two white men, I have to think like 10 steps ahead of, okay, what is the meaning of this question? Because it's very odd that if I'm in a job interview, why would somebody be asking me about a colleague? Wouldn't they want to know more about my experience, about my education, about my skills? Why would they be asking me about a colleague? And quick, brief little drama, little tea. That particular colleague I had some beef with 8 years ago, okay, to the point where, let's just say, long and the short, we worked together at Club Shishi. She ended up getting a job as Group X coordinator for a club that, I won't say the name, but let's just say a very popular entertainer co-owned the club. And she, was scouting for talent, hired me. I was there for a year and a half. Again, no incident. She and I really didn't cross paths. And one fine day, Lord behold, I got sick. And apparently that was, in her mind, not okay. So she fired me for calling in sick. And because I do know my rights, I exposed her, reported it to the Ministry of Labor, as well as exposed it publicly. And I know she didn't quite like that. But, in the end, I did win my case, and I found out that they were actually, I guess I was the straw that cracked open quite a few violations that they were doing in that club. And I got a settlement. And as far as I'm concerned, it was 8 years ago. I had let bygones be bygones. I'd hope that maybe they had learned from it to know that you can't just fire somebody for being sick, or it's a human rights violation. Sickness, you can't fire for somebody for pregnancy, sexual orientation, race, all that kind of stuff. Technically, I'm supposed to fire somebody for that. And she did that, and she even put it in writing to tell me that's what she was firing me for. So anyway, that was 8 years ago. To me, water under the bridge, moving on. I've accomplished many things since then. So I thought it very peculiar that here I am sitting in an interview, and this guy asked me if I know this woman. So I kept it professional, as I do. Anyone who's worked with me, I don't gossip and try to do all that kind of stuff. I just simply said, yeah, I know of her, and left it there. He didn't go any further with that, right? So he's like, okay. Next thing you know, a time before I even get home from the interview, I get this message from the person that passed my resume over, because she's a recruiter. And I'm going to read the message. I won't say who it's from, but I'm going to read the message. She goes, although, blah, 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 the manager, thought you interviewed really well. Unfortunately, your references didn't check out very well. Not a great track record. I am sorry to report this, but they cannot proceed at the stage. I was like, references? They didn't ask me for references. We interviewed, but nobody at any time asked me to provide any references. And I was like, track record? Did she not look me up? I mean, what do you mean track record? My high school track record where I was an honor student? My college track record where I had a 3.8 GPA and graduated with high honors? My corporate track record where I have a box of awards of Employee of the Month, and when I was in sales and customer service, of Outstanding Achiever. My fitness track record, hello, I mean, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but, I've done some stuff. Okay, I've done some stuff that half of these managers haven't done half of. What track record? My over 30 fitness events I've produced, executed, and self-funded, and helped so many fitness professionals to get exposure and advance in their careers. The fact that in 2017, I became the first Black woman in fitness Canadian history to receive the CanFit Pro Fitness Professional of the Year, that track record? Or is it 2019 when I received the new Presenter of the Year award at CanFit Pro, again, being the first Black person to receive that? Is it the track record where I received the 2021, or was one of the fitness instructors of Canada to be recognized by Impact Magazine as one of the top fitness instructors in the country? That track record? What track record are we talking about? So of course, I didn't just let that go, right? So I politely just responded by saying, thanks for letting me know. May I ask what references and track record you're referring to? Her response was, reference conversations remain confidential. I was like, okay. And then of course I put 2 and 4 together and recognized, yeah, the person that he asked me if I know, clearly the manager maybe knows her, called her up, got her version of the story, I'm sure she admitted the fact that she violated my human rights by firing me. And I'm sure she admitted the fact that she was found, well, not she, but the company was found guilty as a result of her actions. Not found guilty, but the company was found to be in violation of the Ministry of Labor Code, in violation of human rights codes according to Canada. I'm sure she probably left that part out. And maybe as many times as black women as we are troped as the angry black woman, you know, the troublemaker, you know, whatever tropes that she probably labeled me as. And that's fine. Like, honestly, I'm not upset that I didn't get the job, because I mean, it's a personal trainer job, and those of us in the industry know that personal trainers don't really make a lot of money. You know, it's not like it's the end of my world. And on top of that, one thing a lot of people don't know is I'm born here in Canada, but Jamaican blood runs through my veins. And if you don't know too much about Jamaicans, let me tell you something. As a child of immigrant parents, Jamaicans particularly are known for their resilience. Known for their resilience. I mean, only Jamaicans, personally, Jamaicans can go through a hurricane, earthquake, and as long as they survived, they'll turn around and make a song out of it, start a new dance, drop a dub plate, thunderclap, you know, do the hurricane, I don't know too many people that could survive a natural disaster and then turn around and make a whole new tune and hairstyle. And we're very resilient people. So I'm not too concerned of the fact that I didn't get the job. You know, I've been in this industry as well, working for over 30 years. It's not that big of a deal. What concerned me though is that it just shows the struggle that we, particularly as black women, have when it comes to whatever industry that you're in, how hard we have to work. Here I am standing in front of these two men with accolades up my wazoo, experience up my wazoo. And rather than looking at my actual record, rather than looking at my actual work that I've actually done in the community and beyond, he relied on one woman that I had conflict with 8 years ago to be the barometer of the kind of person that I can do. Really, the barometer of whether or not I can tell a client of how if they're squatting well, if they're doing a proper lunge, like. But the thing is, I look at that and I think of my Jamaican roots and our resilience and my black people and so much we've been through, and how time and time again, even when we're 10, 20 times better, we only get half of what they get. As my father says, you got to work 10 times harder to get half. Because unfortunately, the world, as my grandmother say, the world no level. Donkey no, the world no level. That was her way of saying, life is not fair. Deal with it now and figure it out, because this right here, don't matter what education and experience, if the person, the gatekeeper, and in many cases the gatekeepers, whether consciously or unconsciously, have bias against you, that's as far as you're going to go. And that's why I think so many black women are such fantastic entrepreneurs and starting their own businesses, because we've had so many glass ceilings and doors closed and brick walls put in our face when someone does not choose to actually look at our track record, to actually look at our education and our skill set. They only focus on the skin or one person that may want to spread something bad about us. But that's okay. You know, as Jay-Z says, just shake it off. You know, I know that life will be good. But the top lesson here is I want to share is that, you know what, you win or you learn. And I also have an expression I personally use is that, you know, some are born with wings, some are given, but me, I built my wings and learned to fly. One person who clearly, you know, may not have liked me for reporting them for their human rights violation is not going to hold me back from pushing forward. Diamonds are not made from hugs and smiles, they're made from pressure. So thank you for the lesson. I hope this person watches this. Thanks for the lesson, because 2022, now you fired me up. Now you woke up the beast, because there's nothing like motivation from people like me than telling me no, telling me that I can't, telling me that I'm not good enough, that I don't have a good track record, when I can pull up receipts to show my actual track record, which I'm going to be sharing over the next few days. I'm going to show exactly my true track record in video and proof to show exactly the things that I have done. Anyway, I ramble enough. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and don't ever let anyone try to define what your track record is. Show. You don't have to tell them. Show it to them, and you shut them up through your successes and your achievements. Have a blessed day.